friends, welcome to the Plaid X2 channel. My name is John. On this channel, we talk all things physical media, movies, music, and books. So if you're into that kind of thing, go ahead and subscribe down below for more of that kind of content. Friends, this is a really fun video. I love doing these kinds of videos. So thank you to all of you content creators who invite the community into these kinds of things. So for this one, Tim at Tim Talks Talkies, good friend. I really appreciate him. Love chatting movies with him. And we've got a video coming up soon together. And I always love talking movies with him. So he put out a challenge inviting people in the community to send to him your lists of your top 25 films from the 90s. And for me, I have no secret on this channel. My favorite decades are the 30s and 40s. And then so close to that, right behind it, is the 90s. I absolutely love the 90s. The 90s, music of the 90s, all-time favorite decade of music. And so anyway, when Tim extended this invitation to the community, I was so excited. I immediately messaged him and said, I'm done. I already have my list. I pulled out, I think, 50 or 60 titles and whittled it down to 25. So I'm really excited to share with you my top 25 films from the 90s. I'll say this, a couple of things. One, I got a lot of comedies in here. I think the 90s, they're my favorite decade for sure when it comes to comedy. There's just so many good comedies. And I probably had 50 to 60 titles. So there's a bunch of honorable mentions I could do, but I'm just going to give you this one, and it's Reality Bites. I love this film, but the reason it didn't make the list is because I don't own a physical copy of it. And I gave myself a rule that it had to be a film that I owned in my collection. And if I did have this film in my collection, it probably would have made the top 25. It's just a phenomenal film about friends who are just trying to figure life out. And the cast is unreal if you've never seen it. Just trying to figure life out, growing up, getting jobs, relationships, managing all of that. And it's just a great film. And it just reeks 90s. Like the whole vibe of it is the 90s. So if you've never seen it, Reality Bites, it's such a great film. It would have made my list. So eventually one day when it's in the collection, it'll be in the top 25, but it's not today. But check that one out. So anyway, friends, this is my list of top 25. We'll go through them starting at 25 all the way down to 1. So this first film is from 1995. I don't hear a ton of people talk about it, but I've enjoyed this one. I first saw it in college, and it's so good. And it's Assassins. And you got Stallone in here, which is a great thing. I love Stallone. You got Antonio Banderas in here. Julianne Moore's in here. And it's just a really, really fun cat and mouse film about these two assassins who want to be the greatest assassin in the world. So if you've never seen it, it is a lot of fun. I highly recommend this one. So this one comes in at number 25 for me. Next coming in, this is a film from 1999, so it just sneaks in there. For me, when I think of this film, it's just a really great comedy from the 90s, and it very much makes me laugh. I've seen it numerous times. And it's starring Martin Lawrence, and it's Blue Streak. It's a really fun cast. Luke Wilson's in this cast, and Dave Chappelle has a very, very funny role in this film as well. So if you've never seen Blue Streak, it's just a silly 90s comedy. He's a thief who eventually pretends he's a police officer to finish a crime he began before he went to prison. It's a ton of fun, a lot of good fun laughs in it. Great 90s comedy. Highly recommend it if you've never seen it. This is number 24 for me. Coming in at 23 for me, this is from 1996. This you could say is part 2 of another film that came out that was more popular, but I love this one. And again, seen it many, many times. It's a phenomenal comedy, great 90s comedy, and it's Black Sheep with Chris Farley and David Spade. A lot of people say it's Tommy Boy Part 2. It's not. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities, but it stands on its own, and it is a lot of fun. Black Sheep, if you've never seen it, highly recommend it. It is so, so good. Black Sheep, great, great comedy. Next one, number 22 for me, is a really quirky film or comedy. Again, another comedy, but it's a ton of fun. And again, this is another film similar to like Reality Bites, where it just screams 90s, from haircuts to clothing style to jokes made. Everything is 90s, and I have a lot of fun with this one. It is weird and quirky, but I have a ton of fun with it. And it's Soy Married, an Axe Murderer with Mike Myers. And he is great in the film, but it's him playing his dad in the film that makes me lose it. Like I'm dying laughing when his dad is on the screen making ridiculous comments and jokes and just being himself. And so anyway, if you've never seen this one, it's a weird comedy, a weird dark comedy, but it's a ton of fun. Mike Myers does a great one in this one. Highly recommend that. So that comes in at 22 for me. 21 is another film that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, but great 90s action film. And it does have one cast member who went on to do some awful things. And so But the main cast member here is a guy who I think deserves recognition for his role in this. And so the film is The Negotiator, and it's got Samuel L. Jackson and Kevin Spacey. Samuel L. Jackson is the main guy in this film, and he's amazing. What he does, the whole film is great. It's tension from the beginning to the very end, and you're asking a lot of questions, trying to figure things out. But Samuel L. Jackson is intense, start to finish, and it is so, so good. I highly recommend this one. Samuel L. Jackson deserves a ton of credit for this role in The Negotiator. Really great action film from the 90s. Coming in at number 20, this one also just sneaks in 1999, and it's an Adam Sandler film. It's one of my favorites of his, and it is Big Daddy. So we'll cover that up. So we've got Big Daddy right here. This film, a ton of stuff in it that just makes me laugh a lot, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I get a little teary in this one, and it pulls on the heartstrings for me. And I think it's a really, really fun film, a great film. I remember seeing this one in theater. If you've never seen it, check it out. I think it's worth checking out. So again, another comedy for me, but a little bit of a dramedy. There's some drama in there as well, but really, really fun film from 1999. Coming in at number 19 for me is a film from 1994. And my guess is this isn't going to be on a lot of people's lists because it's a weird comedy, but it's one of my all-time favorites, starring one of my all-time favorites, and I laugh uncontrollably in this film. And this one is from, again, 1994, and it's Clifford with Martin Short. And this is a ridiculous film, so foolish, and I laugh so hard during it. Charles Grodin is the perfect person to play opposite of Martin Short because he's such like the straight man and angry, and Martin Short is so ridiculous in this film. I think he was in his like late 30s, maybe even early 40s, and he's playing like a 10-year-old, and it's ridiculous. It's foolish, but there's one scene at the table when Charles Grodin's asking him to just be normal for a moment, if you know that scene, and I can't even breathe during that scene. I laugh so hard. So Clifford is one of my all-time favorites. Next, number 18, this is from 1993, starring one of my favorites. Just a great film. I remember seeing this one in theater, and it's Mrs. Doubtfire. It's so good. Again, it's kind of a heartwarming film and just ridiculous, really funny comedy as well. So if you've never seen it, definitely check it out. It's one of my favorites when it comes to Robin Williams. Really silly comedy, but it's a good one with some good message to it and a lot of heart as well. Number 17 for me is from 1993. And there was another Western that I wanted to put on the list, and it didn't make the list. It was close, but didn't. But this one I had to put on. It's so, so good, and it's Tombstone. Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer was unbelievable in this. So if you've never seen Tombstone, it's a Wyatt Earp story, and this is so phenomenal. It's a great, great film. I've watched this countless times. I know Ken on Mid-Level Media, when he did his Westerns video, we could all participate in that. I know a lot of people brought up this film because it's really that good. So if you've never seen it, Tombstone, a great, great Western from the 90s. Highly recommend that one. Next is from 1992. This is number 16 for me, and seen this numerous times. Again, we're going back to comedy, and it's Wayne's World. Dana Carvey, Mike Myers. It's so funny. It's so quotable. It's great music. Everything it's just so good and so funny. It's one of those ones you can come back to over and over and over again, and it doesn't lose anything. It's been out for decades now. It doesn't lose anything. It's still really, really funny. Highly recommend Wayne's World if you've never seen that one. Next is number 15 for me, and this is also from 1999, so just squeaking in that decade. I recently watched this one again and just was laughing so hard. It's a great comedy, but it's also a really smart comedy. And an unbelievable cast. You got Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, and a bunch more people in this one. It's a Galaxy Quest. It is so funny. I am a Star Trek fan, and so watching this just makes me laugh. It's really, really good. Sam Rockwell's in this one. Rainn Wilson's in this one, really young Rainn Wilson. So anyway, if you've never seen Galaxy Quest, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, really good, smart, funny comedy from the 90s. Next is number 14. This one is from 1991, so at the beginning of the decade, and it is one that really funny, again, starring one of my all-time favorites. Really funny, but also for me, it's heartwarming as well. And it is Father of the Bride, the first one right here. So you got Steve Martin. Martin Short is also in there. That's the guy who I like the most, who makes me laugh so hard. And so if you've never seen Father of the Bride, at least part one, it's so good. Highly recommend this one. This one is one for me in the 90s. It's an early 90s film. Again, when it comes to styles and haircuts, their homes, how the homes are decorated, it screams the early 90s. And it's just a really great film for comedy and for just like heartwarming stuff. So Father of the Bride, part one, highly recommend that one. Next is another action film. This is number 13 on my list. This is from 1998, and I love this edition so much. This is the Arrow Video edition, and this is starring one of my favorites, and it's the film is called Ronin, starring Robert De Niro, and this artwork they put out is ridiculous. That's more the original artwork. This is a great action film, killer car chases, stuff to think about, heist. It's amazing. If you've never seen this one, it's an action film you shouldn't sleep on. It's really good. If you're a De Niro fan, check this one out. I love this one. This one keeps my attention the entire time. It's a lot of fun. And this particular edition of the Arrow films is one that I would highly recommend you check out. But if you get the standard Blu-ray, that's great too. But anyway, check out Ronin if you've never seen it. So good. So for me, that's number 13. Number 12 for me, this is from 1995 with a ridiculous cast: Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton, Gary Sinise, Ed Harris, and that is Apollo 13. What can you say? It's Tom Hanks. He crushes everything he does. And this is a great film. If you've never seen this one, I'm really thankful to have picked this up on 4K through Facebook Marketplace for $1. So always fun to find deals. And to find this one for $1, I was really excited to upgrade this one to 4K. But if you've never seen this one, it's gripping from start to finish. The cast, again, is just unbelievable. Phenomenal film from the 90s, Apollo 13. Next is number 11. We're getting close to the top 10. This is number 11. This one's from 1997. Again, we've already seen this actor once before on this list, and he's just one of my all-time favorites. And this was maybe the pinnacle of his dramatic acting, and it is Goodwill Hunting with Robin Williams and Matt Damon, Ben Affleck. Great cast in this as well. But if you've seen this film, Robin Williams, he will destroy you in this film. He's just so good. And the chemistry and the interaction between these two is unbelievable. And Williams will have you in one heartbeat, he'll have you laughing really hard. And in the next heartbeat, he'll have you like just so teary. And so his performance in this is amazing, absolutely incredible. If you bought this film for no other reason, buy it for the performance of Robin Williams. But this is one of my all-time favorites from the 90s, all-time favorite films, one of them, but from the 90s, absolutely. You got to check this one out if you've never seen it. And now, friends, we are in the top 10. So this one is from 1999. It's a Scorsese film. I've mentioned this on the channel before because I want this in Blu-ray or 4K, either. I love this in Criterion especially. But this is a Nicolas Cage film, a Martin Scorsese picture. Again, ridiculous cast. It's Bringing Out the Dead. If you've never seen it, definitely check this one out. If you're a Nick Cage fan, definitely watch it. But this is, his performance in this is just, it's one of those, every once in a while I get a performance from Nick Cage that is just different. And it is so powerful and moving. And it's just different from maybe the majority of films you've seen him do. And he's a phenomenally talented actor. And this is one of the films that puts that on display. Just how incredible of an actor he is. The cast is great. This is, I think anyone can connect with this film. It's a guy, he's a paramedic and he's just going through a lot mentally, his mental health. He's breaking down, he's worn out, he's burnt out. It's about how he navigates all of that. And so if you've never seen this one, this is powerful, gripping from start to finish. I love this one, Bringing Out the Dead. Phenomenal 90s film. Coming in at number 9, this is from 1997, starring an absolute legend. It's a great cast. Directed by James L. Brooks, Jack Nicholson, Helen Hunt, Greg Kinnear, and it's as good as it gets. Jack Nicholson he's unbelievable. He's just one of our absolute best, the greatest to ever do it, one of them. And this film is just, it has my attention the entire time. This is a great edition. This is an imprint edition, so there's a different artwork on the inside. So we have that. I flip around there. So if you've never seen this one, check this one out. It's Jack Nicholson being Jack. And great cast all around. All the cast is phenomenal. But check this one out. A great 90s film. Next, we have one that is from 1998. This is number 8 for me. And this is a film that has me in tears. I've already mentioned this person twice now, I think. Yeah, twice now on this list. And this one gets me every single time. There's one particular scene by the pool that just destroys me. It's so good. And it's Robin Williams and Patch Adams. And this probably won't make everybody's list. And some people say it's kind of sappy. This one is so good to me. It makes me laugh. It makes me cry. It asks great questions. It's inspiring. Such a good film. Patch Adams, if you've never seen it, check it out. I'm so thankful to own this one and have it on Blu-ray. And so I can watch it over and over. Great, great film. Highly recommend it. Patch Adams. We're now on number 7 from 1993. I watched this one over the Christmas holiday, and I hadn't seen it in a long time, and I was on the edge of my seat, wanted to like cheer and stand up and scream and cry, and it was so good, and rooting for him. And this is Rudy. If you've never seen this one, you are so missing out. This is so, so good. This makes definitely my top 10 90s films. If you're a sports film fan, it's phenomenal. Even if you don't like sports, this is such a good film. It'll inspire you and encourage you. It's so, so good. So Sean Astin is in this one, and he just absolutely crushes it. Highly recommend this one if you've never seen it. Rudy, unbelievable film. Next is number 6 from 1996, and this is a film. If someone said, what is one film that you watch it and when you're done the film, you're just so happy? This is the film. I am happy in this film, start to finish. It is so good. There's like a couple of little dramatic moments that are kind of sad, but for the most part, I am happy start to finish, and when I'm done this film, I'm so happy. And it is Tom Hanks, amazing cast, but written and directed by Tom Hanks, and it's That Thing You Do. It's so good. If you've ever been in a band, you'll love this. If you're a dreamer, you'll love this. If you love like old school music and seeing where bands came up and how they come up and how they became big and how they put records out, it's so good. If you're a Tom Hanks fan, so good. I can't recommend this film enough. I could watch this every single day. I absolutely love it. That Thing You Do. And the music in it is ridiculously good. So check it out. Cast is amazing. Everything about it is so good. All right, friends, we're in the top 5. And I stand by all 5 of these films. They're amazing films in general, but amazing films from the 90s. This first one, number 5, is from 1995. And this one and the next one, interchangeable for me as to what my all-time favorite comedy is. And this is, again, Chris Farley, David Spade, and Tommy Boy. So good and so quotable. It's just, I could watch this over and over. I can never get tired of this film, and I will laugh so hard every single time. It's absolutely amazing. I know there's a beautiful steelbook for this one. Maybe someday on Thrift I'll find that steelbook. But so glad to have this one, friends. It's so good. If you've never seen it, you are in for a treat. Check out Tommy Boy. So, so good. Highly recommend it. That's number 5 for me. Number 4, again, these two are interchangeable, all-time greatest comedy. This one is from 1994, so the year before Tommy Boy came out, and this is Dumb and Dumber with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels. This is brilliant start to finish, so quotable. Watch it every day. I would be fine watching it every day. And there was a period of my life where I did watch it every day. And it is so good and so funny, and their performances are so perfect. Everything is great and perfect about this film. So this one comes in for me at number 4. Now we're into the top 3. Again, I stand by all these films. These are so good. This one is from 1995. This is just a cast full of legends. And maybe someday I'll upgrade this to 4K, but love this one. This is the 2-disc Blu-ray edition. The director is Definitive Edition, Michael Mann, starring Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer, and Heat. If you've seen this film, then you already know. If you haven't seen this film, you have to check it out. The scene at the diner, it's right, there's an image of it right on the back. The scene at the diner, unreal. The shootout, unreal. It is so good. This is a brilliant, brilliant film with masters, masters when it comes to acting, going toe to toe with each other, and it's pure brilliance. It's a masterclass. Watching this film is a masterclass on filmmaking, on acting. It is so good. And if you're not a fan of Heat, I don't understand it. It is such an amazing film. Highly recommend this one. That's number 3 for me. That one came out in 95. Number 2 for me, this came out also in 1995. This I've seen a number of times. It's a long run time, but it's so good. And one of those films that is, for me, it's inspiring. I want to just stand up and scream and wear a kilt. So you already know what film I'm talking about. This is Mel Gibson in Braveheart. This film is unbelievable and huge, literal and epic film. And it is inspiring. It is really, there's funny, there's romance, there's everything in this film you could want. And it's just unbelievable. Watch this numerous times. So good. If you've never seen it, again, friends, you are in for a treat when you watch Braveheart. So good, so powerful. Can't recommend this one highly enough. Winner of 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. So good. And here's number 1, friends. This is also the winner of 5 Academy Awards, including Best Director. And this one is from 1998. The cast in this one is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Director, everything about this film is monstrous. The very first opening, the scene, the beginning, has me in tears and on the edge of my seat. And I've seen this film countless times. It's just that good. And this is Saving Private Ryan. Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, Edward Burns, Matt Damon, Tom Sizemore. This is just a monster. The cast, it goes deeper and deeper as well. Just a monster cast. It's heartbreaking. There is humor in it. It's inspiring. You're in awe at the beginning. You're in awe at the end. It is just, yeah, it's one of those films that just almost transcends our ability to explain why it is so phenomenal and so good. I do have the 4K edition of it, but I didn't have a 4K slip. I did have the Blu-ray slip, so I threw that on there. But anyway, Saving Private Ryan is number 1 for me when it comes to my top 25 films of the 90s. Other films could, depending on the day, it might change. But today, that's how I'd rank them, my top 25. And Reality Bites, I would throw that in there as well. I don't know what I'd bounce out of the 25, but Reality Bites is so good as well. Tim, thank you so much for this challenge and this invitation for us to participate in it. I love the 90s so much, so this was so much fun. As soon as you announced it, I watched your video and I immediately dove into the collection to find my list. So Tim, thank you so much for the invitation. This was so much fun. Friends, I am loving watching your videos and seeing your lists as you're posting them because I love the 90s. It's such a great decade. So thank you so much for watching this one. Thank you again, Tim. Really appreciate it. Friends, hope you're doing well. Please do take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time.